Here are the three common traps that are keeping high earning women broke. You see, making money isn't the same as building wealth. And here's what I hear every single day. Hi, I'm Vicky. Welcome to my channel. Here we're going to talk about what it means to be wealthy and unstoppable. As part of my community, I work with brilliant, high-achieving women. They're executives, doctors, creators, consultants. They're earning six-figure salaries, over 150,000 for each of them, and yet they still feel broke. Not because they aren't smart, not because they don't work hard, but because they've fallen into three common traps that keep high earning women from becoming truly wealthy and truly financially free. So let's talk about that today. So we're going to delve into all three of them and what you can do about it. Trap number one. You see, there is something that I refer to as lifestyle inflation disguised as rewarding yourself. What does that mean? So, several years ago, I got an amazing job. I was making great money. But do you know what I did when I got the amazing job and I was making more money? Well, I did what so many of you, I bet you do. We start to upgrade our lifestyle. So, yes, we're earning more, but we're now spending more as well, right? That could mean more lavish vacations, buying more luxury cars, building on more of that consumer debt, right? We land the client, we close the deal, we get the raise, we're making more money. We're upgrading, we're getting a nicer apartment, we're getting the summer trips to Italy. But here's the thing, you can't outrun math. If you're earning 300,000 as an example, but you're spending 290,000, you're just 10,000 away from being broke. Or even worse, what a lot of people end up doing is they're making 300,000, they don't realize how much they're spending, so they're now spending 310,000 and now you're over 10,000. So, wealthy women, though, they don't just earn, they give their money a job. And what do? They keep the money and then they grow their money. They invest first, then they spend. They build systems where their money works for them, even while they're sleeping. You see, money likes to be given a job. Money likes to work because money makes money. Did you know that over 60% of Americans today who are earning over $250,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck? And not because they have to, but because their lifestyle creep is very, very real. So it's all about that lifestyle rather than building up the wealth. So here is tip number one. Don't let the increase in your income equate to an increase in your lifestyle. Invest first. Automate wealth building first. And there are lots of different ways that, the methods that are out there. So there's the 70-20-10 rule, and you can research it. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can just tell you, you put 70% towards your daily expenses, 20% you put towards your future self. So like your retirement account, your opportunity fund, and then 10% as your emergency fund. There's the 50%, 30%, 20% rule. So 50% for your daily expenditures. It doesn't matter. The big headline here is that you need to, before you spend, you need to automate the way that you're going to build your wealth. the way that you're going to either build your retirement account or put your money into a high yield savings account or into a brokerage account in a place where money is making money. So that's your tip number one. Trap number two. We disguise a scarcity mindset as being responsible. So money is energy. And just like a relationship, a romantic relationship, if you've heard of anxious style, attachment style, right? It's anxious or avoidant or secure. So what does that mean? So I'll give you a couple of examples. So a person who has an anxious attachment style, what's happening is, let's say you're dating and your boyfriend doesn't call you back. You immediately start to get into an anxiety around, oh my God, he no longer likes me. He doesn't want to date with me. Where is he? Right? You get super anxious about it. Then there's the avoidance style, like, oh my God, why is this guy being so nice to me? And you become avoidant, right? And you're like, oh, I don't want to, this isn't for me, right? And then there's the secure, like, okay, so he didn't text me. I'm sure that there's a really valid reason. Or, wow, he's like buying me flowers. That's so sweet. Like, I totally appreciate that. So you're like super secure in your relationship. Now, it's the same thing with money because it's also money is energy, just like your love life is energy. Your money is energy. So when it comes to money, you can also have a very anxious attachment style with money as well as an avoidant. So what are the examples? An avoidant is somebody who, even though you make great money, you have money in your bank account, what do? You don't open up your bills. Not because you don't have the money to pay the bills. You just don't want to open the bills. Why? You're avoiding it. There's something that feels unsafe about it. Or you could be anxious about it. So, what does anxious look like? You have your spreadsheet, you're in your spreadsheet, you know down to the penny how much you're spending, what's coming in, what's going out. You're like constantly checking what your investment accounts are doing, right? You're anxious around the money. So you save, you budget, you delay purchases, and you're still anxious about the money. And what do we say? We say, oh, I just want to be safe. I can't risk losing it. I need to know everything before I invest, or I need to know everything that goes out of my checking account. There's that anxiety around it. And listen, I get it. I've been there. I've been on both sides of the equation. I've been like the crazy person who's constantly in my spreadsheets. I've been the person who didn't want to open up her bills. But here's the thing. When we say we're being super responsible with money, but we're kind of in that controlling, anxious energy, that's just fear. Because really, when we're in controlling energy, that's a fear energy. That's why we tend to be super controlling with things or anxious around things, because that, like, the underlying energy behind it is pushiness and fear. So, listen, money trauma runs deep. If you were taught, for example, that money's hard to get, there's never enough money, like my mom, yes, she opened up a small business, but she was really afraid to take any chances. She was afraid to invest, into building up her business any further. She was afraid to buy real estate. She was afraid to invest in stocks. So she just literally would hoard her money and put it into a savings account and make 2 to 3% a year instead of being able to put it into a stock market and get an average rate of return of 10% a year, right? So and that's probably something that so many of us grew up watching our parents doing. So if we were taught that money's hard to get, or that money is going to run away, or that there isn't enough money, we're going to stay in that same energy of fear around money. I think that's very natural. So you'll stay in that energy of analysis paralysis. So even when you're earning more than enough to build wealth, you're still going to worry about how much you have, worry about what you're investing into, worry about it's that constant fearful energy. So what's the truth? The truth is that money's energy, and money flows to clarity, courage, not constant spreadsheets and the anxious energy, right? Money likes to flow, right? Money is a currency. It's a current. It's energy. You need spaciousness around it. You need stewardship around it. Money is going to come to you when it feels like you can handle it, like you can be responsible with it, like you can both give and take. You want to circulate it, right? Why is it so wonderful to donate money? Because you're giving. But when you give, you also receive. And it's that circular, right? I've talked about it in some of my other videos. So let's make a small shift. Let's start small and let's start now. Let's just start by by with one aligned investment. And again, I'm not an advisor, but there's so many different ways that you could invest. So instead of hoarding the money and putting it into a savings account that's making 1 or 2% a year for you, you could put it into a low risk index fund or an ETF, a broad-based fund ETF. You could invest in yourself. You could, invest into a coach for yourself, a wealth building course, right? Because clarity comes from doing and not just studying. That's why so many women are joining my community. We're stepping into that self empowerment, into being the stewards of our money, into feeling safe with our money. If you want to learn more about my community or learn how to shift your relationship with money, look for a link in my bio or a link in the description. I give so many free tools because the thing is, you are going to manifest money at the speed of safety. Let me repeat that again. You're going to manifest money and abundance at the speed of safety. So if you're being avoidant with money, money is not going to want to come to you. If you're going to be anxious with money and you're going to be choking the energy around it, it's not going to want to come to you. It's going to come to you when you're in flow, when you feel abundant, when you're joyous around it. That's when it's going to want to flow to you. Just like in a relationship, right? Do you want to date someone who's like choking you, who's not giving you any freedom? Do you want to date somebody who's avoiding you and doesn't want to be around you? Or do you want to date somebody who's like, oh, that's cool. Like, yes, let's go hang out. Let's have fun. Let's have a good time. Isn't that the person that you want to date? It's the same thing with money. So let's talk about trap number 3, the silent shame around debt. So here we are. We're making great money. You're making over 100,000, 6-figure. It doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter. But what happens? You're making great money, but yet credit card bills are piling up. The car loans are there, right? And so what happens? We're like, all that guilt and shame starts to build within us around the money and probably worry too, right? And if you're familiar with the vibrational scale, that shows where you are on the vibrational scale, like that energy scale, what you will find is that guilt and shame is literally at the very bottom of the vibration that you could be in when you're like manifesting or when you're, when you're existing. And so guilt and shame is lower than boredom. It's lower than frustration. It's lower than anger, believe it or not. Guilt and shame is considered literally the lowest energy that you could be in. So when you're in that energy, you're absolutely blocking any kind of abundance from coming to you. So if you have silent shame around the debt that you're accruing, or I don't even like the word debt, I like to use the word past blessings and investments. Um, there's no way that more money can flow to you and the abundance can flow to you. So, so here's the thing. What do? You probably start to avoid it. You start telling yourself, well, I'll just earn more money and it's going to sort itself out. Or I'm going to get that bonus and that bonus is going to help pay for the vacation or the credit card or the car payment or the whatever, right? That we want to experience that is probably above our means. But the hard truth is this: you can't out earn emotional money habits. Did you hear what I said? I said you can't out earn emotional money habits. So the anxiousness, the avoiding of the money. And the thing is, you don't have to. You see, wealthy people, they don't ignore debt. They just create strategy around it. Again, when you feel safe and secure around something, you're like, yep, that sucks, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to create a plan. And so they create a plan around it, right? They look at it in the eye and they say, all right, let's clear this with power. They take the power back. They're not going to give their power away. They take the power back and they say, I'm going to create a plan. I'm going to create a plan around how I'm going to build my wealth and pay down the debt. And let me just give you some statistics. Here's one statistic about women. So the average student loan debt for women is about $31,000, and women carry 2/3 of all US student debt. You could take that. You could also correlate it to credit cards, to credit card debt, or, car loans. But here's the thing. The most important piece of advice I can give you is, let's just replace shame with strategy. Let's take our power back and let's build a payoff plan that aligns with your vision, not your guilt. You don't have to feel guilty about it. Heck, it's your past blessings and investments. Okay? So you enjoyed them, and that's awesome. And we want to be on this planet to enjoy life. So let's just create a strategy around it. We don't need to hustle. We don't need to hustle harder. We just need a new relationship with money that feels safe. So there are different ways for people to pay down their debt. Again, there are different methodologies. You can research them. There's one methodology where you essentially write out all the debt that you have. So, what are some of your past blessings and investments? It could be credit cards, it could be car loans, it's student loans, whatever. It doesn't matter. So first you get crystal clear with what it is, you write it out, and then you write out the amount and you write out the interest rate that you're paying on them. There's a methodology where you pay down anything with the highest rate of interest rate first, and then you pay down everything else, or you pay off the smallest amount that you owe. You pay that first, and that feels like a win. I think the advantage with paying off something that's the highest interest rate is, just think about it. Like, let's pretend a credit card is charging you 20% for their interest rate, right? So think about it this way. Let's flip the script a little bit. The credit card company is making 20% on your money, right? So what if you thought about it as, if I could have an investment that's earning me 20% a year, would I love to take it? Yeah. So when you pay off a credit card that has where you're paying 20%, that's like literally making money, let's like making 20% rate of return in the market. right? Because you're no longer giving it to the credit card company, you're bringing the money back to you. So think about it in those terms when you think about your strategy for how you want to build wealth and how you want to pay down your debt. So let's get very, very real, right? We weren't taught these things at school. Where was the money education at school? I certainly didn't have it. None of the people in my community have ever had it, right? We didn't see this modeled at home. I saw the opposite modeled at home. I saw the money doesn't grow on trees. I'm afraid to invest. I am not going to grow my business, right? That's what I saw modeled in my home. So we didn't grow up with wealth and abundance modeled in our home. So of course, this feels very unfamiliar. And staying small, being scarce, being scared. I mean, that is what feels familiar to our nervous system. But we're not here for that. We're not here to play small. We're here to break that habit. So the good news is that money is a skill, wealth is a choice, and abundance is available. And every time you learn something new, every time you shift a pattern, or every time you say yes to your financial power, you're changing the game for yourself. And perhaps even more importantly, you're modeling a new way of being for the generation to come, for your children. You're modeling it for the people that are going to come after you. So let's say our affirmation and our mantra for today. So today's affirmation is I am worthy of wealth, not just income. I lead my money with clarity, courage, and confidence. And let our mantra be earn, keep, grow, and flow. Earn with intention, keep with boundaries, grow with strategy, and let it flow with ease. If you like this content, make sure to comment and subscribe. And if you're interested in joining the wealthy and unstoppable community, the link is in my bio. It's in the description. I have so many free resources. Sign up for my newsletter. I will be sending you tips every single week. It's delivered to you free of charge. So there you go. Have an amazing day. And I look forward to hearing from you. I really do genuinely love to hear from people. So make sure to comment and to share your thoughts. Have an amazing day.